Welcome to the any card, any number tutorial. Now, what I've done is I've just simply set up the two decks. I have the first deck here. I've just set it up so that the card I want to force is on the top, and the two cards next to it are the cards for the additional part of the trick that I'm forcing. So you'll see that the two cards, when added together, are add to 7, and then when doubled, to get us a number between 4 and 52, so we double it, so we get 14. So the 14th card in this deck is the 7 of clubs, the card we'll force in a moment. Now, what I've done is I just did a false shuffle. You could use whatever false shuffle, of course. I just did that rifle shuffle where I just the inside corners, and then I push the decks together, but I actually just push the top portion and slide it back on top of the rest of the pile, so nothing's actually disturbed. So of course, when you do that, you kind of hide it with your hands, and it just gives the impression that you're closing the deck together. Anyways, now what I've done also is I've put the force card on top. What I want to do is have the force card on the bottom of the deck, but the reason I have it on the top is just so I can show the cards off in the beginning to be a regular deck of cards, and of course I do that with this pile too. And then if there's, you could find whatever way, I'm sure you could come up with a good method of casually moving the top card to the bottom. I just sort of did it out of camera, but I've just moved the top card I want to force to the bottom of the deck after I showed the cards. So then the trick is now ready, and all we do now is we get the spectator to grab this deck, and they can deal off as many cards as they like. And you'll notice that the two cards for the additional part of the trick, the two cards that we want to force actually are on the very bottom. They're the first cards dealt off, so that when they go to deal the two piles, you'll then notice that the two bottom cards end up on the top of the piles. Now, it seems like they've randomly ended up with these two cards, but really, of course, they were just the top two cards from the original deck. So, we add the two cards together, we get 7, we double that, we get 14. So, before we explain all that, we get the spectator to cut this deck. They can cut it anywhere, and then we lift the bottom portion and we just cross it over to mark our cut, and that's our setup for the I believe it's called the force cut, or the cut force, or whatever. So then we go on to explain, okay, we get 7 and we double that, we get 14. So 14 is our random number between 4 and 52, and then we look at what card they've randomly cut at, our 7 of clubs, which needless to say is forced, and we move over then now to this deck, and we count 14 cards down, which we should arrive at 7 of clubs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14th card is the 7 of clubs. And then of course you can just let them look at the cards, and there's nothing suspicious about the decks. And yeah, so anyways, like I said in the performance, if you have any input about this particular any card at any number type trick, I'd like to hear from you about it. I would like to get some ideas on some good versions of this trick. So anyways, thank you for watching, and we'll see you later.